This documentary delves into the mind unlocked and how meditation rewires the brain and transforms our future world almost like magic. Take a slow breath. Inhale for 4 seconds and then exhale for 4. In those 8 moments, something remarkable has already begun inside you. Electrical rhythms in your brain shift. The amygdala, the region deeply wired to fear and threat, begins to reduce its firing. The prefrontal cortex, the region shaping your reasoning, empathy, and long-term planning, glows with a subtle clarity. Nothing else in medicine shifts the nervous system this quickly without the aid of pharmaceuticals. This simple act of attention is not a passing fad of wellness culture. It is part of an ancient practice now finally validated by neuroscience. Tonight we explore the science and the profound implications of meditation and mindfulness and why they matter more than ever in our overstimulated world. For much of history, meditation has been wrapped in mysticism and ritual. In temples, willful silence and disciplined breathing were a passport to spiritual awakening. Yet to many outside those traditions, meditation was a curiosity without substance. In 1971, a Harvard cardiologist named Herbert Benson challenged that perception. Boldly attaching electrodes to practicing Tibetan monks, he expected very little beyond signs of relaxation. What he recorded instead astonished him and eventually shocked the scientific community. He saw heart rates fall as if the subjects were sleeping deeply, and oxygen intake plummet nearly 40%, figures usually possible only under sedation or in trained elite athletes. Here, in an American laboratory with instruments running, meditation revealed itself not as ritual but as a precise physiological phenomenon. Half a century later, we now see the meditating brain with extraordinary clarity thanks to functional imaging. Researchers at universities across the world have observed that regular mindfulness practice thickens gray matter density, particularly in regions tied to executive control and emotional regulation. In 2005, neuroscientist Sara Lazar at Massachusetts General Hospital became one of the first to show through MRI scanning that meditation thickens cortical regions tied to attention and sensory processing. At UCLA, neuroscientist Eileen Luders demonstrated in 2010 that even adults who began meditation later in life showed structural increases in cortical thickness in areas implicated in memory and compassion. And in 2013, Richard J. Davidson, a pioneering neuroscientist at the University of Wisconsin, found that meditation linked directly to sustained activity in neural circuits associated with compassion and emotional balance. Meditation quite literally reshapes the organ of thought. The brain is not fixed as once believed, but plastic, rewiring and regenerating in response to deliberate training. Why is this important? Because our brains are under siege from relentless distraction. From the moment we wake up, digital notifications tap into our dopamine pathways. They fragment attention and heighten stress. Chronic stress, in turn, floods the body with cortisol, which damages immune function, weakens cardiovascular health, and accelerates cellular aging. Meditation is not a vague antidote, it is a precise countermeasure. Studies funded by the National Institutes of Health show that mindfulness-based stress reduction programs, pioneered by John Kabat-Zinn in 1979 at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, consistently lower cortisol levels, reduce markers of inflammation, and improve resilience against illness. By training attention, the mind protects the body, but meditation does not only heal, it transforms performance. Olympic athletes visualize their breath in sync with movement to prime muscle memory. Corporate leaders use short daily mindfulness sessions to clarify decision-making under pressure. Military programs have now adopted mindfulness training to improve focus and lower susceptibility to post-traumatic stress after combat. A consistent finding across these diverse populations is that meditation is less about retreating from the world and more about engaging it with precision. When attention is stabilized, even difficult experiences are processed without spirals of reactivity. A soldier facing chaos, a surgeon holding focus in long procedures, or a parent guiding a restless child can benefit from this steady cognitive presence. Let us pause and ask how something so simple creates such cascades of benefit. Meditation in its most basic form is the act of returning attention. Each time we notice distraction and bring the mind back, neural circuits strengthen as if muscles were being trained through repetition. The anterior cingulate cortex, central to monitoring errors and shifting attention, becomes more efficient. The insula, the seat of interoception or bodily awareness, grows in responsiveness. The hippocampus, crucial for memory, shows increased volume. This repeat act of returning focus is like laying down tracks in the mind, tracks that over time become wide highways of awareness. Dreaming, wandering, and ruminating are not enemies, but without awareness they control us. Meditation builds the awareness to see them rather than be swept by them. Compassion practice, a branch of mindfulness, goes further. It nurtures circuits linked to empathy and altruism. In experiments at the Max Planck Institute in 2013, participants trained for only 2 weeks in compassion. Meditation showed measurable increases in prosocial behavior and in activity within the temporoparietal junction, a region tied to understanding others. From monks in monasteries to office employees around the globe, meditation expands empathy, a vital resource for fractured communities. It is natural to ask whether all this is too good to be true. Academic scrutiny continues to grow sharper. Meta-analyses remind us that not all studies are equal in quality and that exaggerated claims must be avoided. Meditation is not a cure for every disease, nor does it replace medical care. What it does is provide a reproducible tool for the regulation of attention, the reduction of stress, and the cultivation of empathy. Clinical trials on patients with depression and anxiety demonstrate modest but significant improvements, particularly in preventing relapse. Notably, between 2008 and 2015, multiple randomized studies confirmed the effectiveness of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy in protecting against recurrent depression. Mindfulness cannot erase trauma, but it can change the relationship to trauma. Instead of drowning in flashbacks, a patient learns to witness emotions with less reactivity. This difference may mean the difference between relapse and healing. As the science matures, new frontiers open. Brain-computer interfaces now experiment with amplifying feedback from neural activity during meditation. Virtual reality immerses users in tranquil landscapes designed to accelerate calm. Yet the deepest power of meditation may remain its sheer simplicity. No device or technology is required. The breath, the body, and awareness itself are the instruments. Some practitioners manage profound, calm sitting cross-legged in dim halls. Others find it in quiet minutes before boarding a train or after closing a laptop at midnight. The practice is portable, democratic, and free. Beyond science lies society. Imagine the role of mindfulness in classrooms where children learn to pause before reacting, in hospitals where staff prevent burnout, in prisons where inmates discover a measure of dignity beyond cycles of violence. Pilot programs already suggest that mindfulness reduces bullying, lowers disciplinary incidents, and improves resilience in stressed institutions. Teachers who practice mindfulness themselves are more patient and present in classrooms. Healthcare staff report lower turnover when given mindful breaks. Even within correctional facilities, meditation programs have shown reductions in aggression and recidivism. What began as silent breath counting can ripple across human systems, creating cultures of awareness rather than reactivity. Finally, there is the personal dimension, equally vital as the scientific. People who meditate daily often describe subtle but powerful shifts. Food tastes richer, conversations deepen, small annoyances lose their edge. Life does not change, but the way the mind holds life does. Mindfulness opens space, and in that space, stresses shrink to manageable proportions. This is not mysticism, but phenomenology observed in the laboratory of daily living. So when we ask what the power of meditation and mindfulness truly is, the answer is not singular. Meditation is a physiological reset, a cognitive training regime, a therapy for mood, and a social technology for empathy. It is ancient in origin yet cutting edge in research. It bridges the sacred and the scientific, the monastery and the laboratory, the individual heartbeat and the collective pulse of society. And its greatest strength may be its accessibility. At any moment in a busy day, one can close their eyes, notice the breath, and begin again. As we end, take another slow breath. Inhale, hold, exhale. In these quiet seconds, circuits of awareness strengthen, inflammation lessens. The mind settles. This is the power of meditation and mindfulness, not an escape from reality, but an embrace of it in its purest form. In a world distracted and divided, perhaps the most revolutionary act is simply to pay attention.